As Nigeria's political landscape continues to evolve, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has found itself at a critical crossroads. Once the dominant party in the country, the PDP is currently grappling with a series of internal disagreements that threatens its unity, electoral strength, and future role as a viable opposition force. From leadership disputes and regional power struggles to questions of party discipline and strategic direction, the recent developments have reignited national conversations about the state of internal democracy in Nigeria's political parties. On the program Nigeria Today, we take a deeper look at the root causes of the PDP's internal crisis, its implications for the country's political stability, and what this means for democratic governance in Nigeria. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am your carrier, Clinton. With me in the studio to discuss PDP's internal crisis is a political scientist, Dr. Matthew Adoyi Omali. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Also joining us via Zoom is a public affairs analyst, Jide Ojo. Jide, it's good to have you on Nigeria Today.
Good evening, Ikeria. It's my pleasure. Good evening, Nigerians as well.
So, Dr. Omali, I will start with you. Many analysts have described the current state of the PDP as one of the most turbulent since its formation. From your perspective, what exactly is at the heart of this internal crisis?
Yeah, the crisis within the PDP is most unfortunate. Most unfortunate because at this time, Nigeria needs a vibrant opposition party. And the PDP is supposed to lead the charge. The PDP is the largest opposition party because it has the largest number of opposition governors. Before the recent spate of defection, it has up to 13 governors. It has up to 118 members of the National Assembly, House of Rep, and about 32 senators, and many number, almost over 300 state assembly. So it's the largest opposition party. So this crisis is very, very unfortunate. The root cause of the crisis basically is inter-party squabbles. The struggle for the control of the soul of the party as we count down to the 2027 election. Some governors on one hand who wants to control the party activity, and then, of course, some other power centers within the party, especially the group led by the Minister of FCT, who is also a very powerful figure within the party. He contested the last primary election with the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar. And since then, the rancor has continued to fester. The party has not been able to resolve the fallout of that presidential convention. And that is what we are seeing today, and that is keep on haunting the party and is creating a fertile ground for many leaders of the party to move to other political parties. You have the former Senate president under the party who opted out, David Mark, to form the ADC, and several other strong notch of the party are moving out. So it's about internal squabble, internal quarrel, which are avoidable. Politics is about give and take. They were supposed to sit on a round table and amicably resolve most of the issues that are in contention, but no side wants to shift, and it is Nigerians that are going to bear the brunt of that problem, because once you don't have a vibrant opposition in a democracy, it calls to question the type of democracy that we are having. I think, and the second major reason I think why the crisis keep on festering is that having been in power for so long, 17 years, with having lost the elections in 2015, they've not been able to put their acts together. You know, opposition politics is very difficult in this country. So they have lost a lot of grounds at the grassroots. They have lost a lot of grounds, and the party has not been able to put its hands together to challenge for power. I think that's another major problem. And of course, the third point, you cannot wash away the interest of external forces. Those who are not members of the party, who
of
are
course,
also...
you always have that now, as far as
Yes.
politics is concerned.
Yes.
Now, I'll have to stop you here so that Jide will also add his voice to this issue. Now, Jide, of course, Dr. Male has cited inter-party squabbles. Now, some also believe that the root cause of this problem cannot be far from, their ability, the PDP's ability to manage succession and also power rotation fairly. What is your thought about this, and how has this impacted the national outlook of this party?
Yeah, on the strength of what Dr. Male Adelia said, what you just said now, is actually the immediate challenge that PDP faced. Immediate challenge in the sense that power was supposed to rotate between the North and the South every 2 electoral cycles. And the last occupier of that position was President Muhammadu Buhari, who governed Nigeria from 2015 to 2023. And instead of the PDP power brokers and chieftains to zone the presidency to the South in 2023, they decided to throw it open, and the same candidate whom they fielded in 2019 emerged as the presidential candidate in 2023. Not only that, they now had both the presidential candidate and the national chairman of the party from the same zone. So where is equity, justice, and fairness in all of that? Don't also forget that the APC nearly made the same mistake when some people said President Buhari was in support of Ahmed Lawan, the immediate past president of the Senate, to succeed him. And it took the APC governors to go and meet President Buhari and say, no, that will not fly. In the spirit of equity, justice, and fairness, power must shift to the South. So it was the acting of that advice by President Buhari that made APC to retain the presidential seat. But unfortunately, PDP was adamant to open the contest in 2023. And when he did, it led to the exit of the running mate to Atiku Abubakar in 2019. That's Peter Obi of Anambra State, who in May 2022 left PDP and teamed up with Labour Party. It also led to the exit of people like Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. So people have said that if PDP had thrown its zoned its presidential candidate to the South in 2023, there's a possibility of it winning the presidential election of that year, because maybe Peter Obi will not have left. Maybe many of the defections that took place after will not have happened, but it's a possibility that maybe what happened will still have happened, because I liken PDP to the rise and fall of an empire. No empire, lasts forever. Whether you are an empire for 50 years, 100 years, 20 years, you are going to fall. Where is your empire today? Where is Sokoto, Kanem Borno Empire today? Where is even the French and the Chinese Empire and all the empires are across the world? There is no single one left. They are all giving way to alternate powers. So it is bound to happen whether now or in future. So it's a rise and fall of empire, but it's actually the immediate cause of that was power struggle, lack of adherence to internal party democracy, and lack of constitutionalism. These are some of the factors alongside what Dr. Matthew Adoye has said, which is responsible for the crisis in the PDP now, where the National Secretariat have to be shut down and the two warring factions sent packing.
Thank you very much, Jide. Now, Dr. Omale, of course, Jide, of course, corroborated with some of the points you made there. But then again, you talked about internal squabble. Now, that brings us to my next question, where, it has always been, internal democracy has always been cited as a pillar, of a party's stability. Now, would you say that PDP's troubles has a kind of, will I say expose other parties, the failure of internal democracy in our political parties?
Yes, the issue of internal democracy is one of the major challenges that our democratic system is facing. This is because of the imposition of candidates, the lack of free and fair selection processes during party primaries. Jide talked about the issue of zoning of political offices. In the PDP, that first brought about this issue of zoning into the Nigerian political lexicon. They are the first people that jettisoned the issue of zoning. Though, from what Jide has said, they have their understanding that the last PDP candidate was Goodluck Jonathan. Therefore, it was right for the PDP to have zoned the president, to have thrown open the presidency, since it was they could not arrive at a consensus to zone the presidency to the south, because the last occupant within PDP was Goodluck Jonathan. Since they couldn't reach a consensus, they now said, okay, everybody should go to the field. And with Atiku's war chest, there was no way anybody could have defeated him, and he emerged. So internal democracy, not just in PDP, in most political parties in Nigeria, is lacking. Most times the primaries are heavily induced or hijacked by money bags. And, people crack joke during the era of the PDP that the PDP can do a lot of magic. You could just, you wouldn't even contest an election and you appear as a candidate of the party. So that is a very serious issue. So it is now that I think they are a bit humble. So that is why most of these crises are happening the way they are happening. And I pray that Nigerian political parties should do things the way that they ought to do it. I hear in some of the PDP congresses of the past, you hear people leaving the congresses with hundreds of dollars that are being shared. Candidates are not properly screened. Candidates that are doing very well.
Is it peculiar to PDP?
No, it's not peculiar to PDP, but PDP been having ushered in the Fourth Republic from 1999 at the Just Convention. Initially, everybody thought Ikweme was going to emerge. We knew what happened, and then Obasanjo emerged. We still saw the various conventions that threw up Yaradua, who himself even criticized the processes that brought him into power. So the PDP internal democracy has not been as robust as it should be. And at the state level, it's even worse. For governorship primaries, for state assembly primaries, you discover that it's all about imposition of candidates. It's all about not following the party constitution, not following the party guidelines. And then, so the internal democracy is lacking. Most times, delegates lists are doctored, and so on. So all these are some of the things that have affected the party, and not just PDP, but even all other political parties are guilty of this issue of internal democracy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Male. We are going to take a short break now. This conversation continues after the break.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow, under digital economy, for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different?
We want to know what they do
as occupation. All of these are attributes that our questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we're talking about the internal crisis of the PDP. And I have two gentlemen, one here in the studio and one via Zoom. Now, Jide, of course, Dr. Omale has, talked about the internal democracy. I also want to get your perspective of this internal democracy. Has this really, is it a reflection of a broader failure of internal democracy in our political parties? Because we are not just looking at PDP now, other parties. Because if we see today is PDP, we don't know which party it will be next.
Sincerely speaking, my sister, period. The point is, all the 19 registered parties today are suffering from the same malaise of lack of internal party democracy. I write for the Punch newspaper. Over time, I've weighed in on this issue of political party crisis in Nigeria. For instance, take APC. APC was registered on July 31, 2013. That makes it 12 years of existence. Do you know that in 12 years, APC have had about 8 national chairmen? In 12 years, 8 national chairmen. And many of these chairmen did not even emerge through elective convention. It's just imposed. Look at the current president, current national chairman. He was just ratified by the NEC. It was not the convention that produced him. The same thing with the immediate past, former Umaru Ganduje. Ganduje did not also emerge through the elective convention. It's just somebody saying, I moved the motion that this person should not be our national chairman. That is not how to manage political parties. The same thing with PDP that we are examining. If you look at PDP in its 26 years of existence, there have been about 16 chairmen of the party. Only Ahmadu Ali, Colonel Ahmadu Ali retired, served that a term. All the other ones, their tenures were truncated before the end of their term. Even Uche Secondus was 2 or 3 months to the end of his term. He was forced out. Look at Yoche Ayu. The moment they lost the 2023 election, Ayu was forced out. Then they brought in who? They brought in Damagun in acting capacity. Damagun has been there for 2 years in acting capacity. Now, to elect a successor is a problem. The so-called convention scheduled for November 15 and 16 is hanging in the balance because the court of competent jurisdiction have altered the process, saying that they didn't follow due process. Look at Labour Party. There are 2 factions of Labour Party claiming to be leaders of the party. You have the Nenadi Usman faction, you have the Julius Abures faction. The same thing, you go to NMPP. They also have 2 factions claiming leadership. You go to SDP. There are 2 factions, the Shehu Gaban's faction and the other faction. So what we are saying is that it's not even only PDP. The same malaise of lack of internal party democracy is afflicting almost all of them. In fact, it took the Supreme Court to resolve the leadership crisis of All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. I think it was early this year that APGA now recognized the current national chairman of the party. The party has been in perpetual crisis from the time of before Victor Oye to they used Chekwa Sokore, from Chekwa Sokore to Victor Oye to Victor Ume to the current. So almost all of them have this issue of non-adherence to their party constitution, issues of lack of cohesion. You see all manner of shenanigans going on in the name of conducting congresses and convention, monetary inducement, buying up of party delegates, imposition of candidates. There is a phenomenon called Baba Sokwe politics. Is these Nigerian politicians that introduced it? Do you know at some point you carry, if you say PDP, they will say share the money. PDP, share the money. Instead of saying...
Very much. Thank you very much, Jide. Now, quite a lot. I'm just getting a new one, the Bashokwe kind of politics. Now, Jide has said quite a lot about what's going on. Of course, it's not far from what you also mentioned that is happening in the PDP. Now, some party members, from the PDP have called for a complete restructuring of the PDP's leadership to restore confidence. Now, in practical terms, what kind of reform would you think, is necessary to achieve that?
Conduct free, fair, and credible convention. Let a new leadership, entire new leadership of the party emerge. As Jide has said, a situation whereby you have somebody acting chairman for 2 years, or not elected, ratified by a NEC meeting, it's not acceptable. It does not speak well of internal democracy in the political parties. Like Jide said, it's not just the PDP that this is happening. It's happening even the ruling party. It's happening even across other parties. So, to me, the solution to the crisis is to allow a free, fair, and credible convention where all national officers of the party, state chapters of the party, local government chapter of the party will be freshly constituted in a free and fair manner. And if there are zoning positions, the zones that are supposed to have those positions, they are supposed to zone it amicably and set up their leadership in such a way that they can be able to challenge the ruling party in 2027. Anything short of that, then the PDP will not be ready to pose a serious challenge to the APC and other political parties in the 2027 elections. Okay,
thank you very much, Dr. Mali. Now, Jide, from what you have, from the picture you have painted, it's very, very, clear that quite, our political parties, will I say, almost all of them are sitting on kind of a taking time bomb. Now, if you are to profile a solution to these crises that we have, and of course for the ones that we probably might be, evolving in the near future, what would be your recommendations?
There's a basic principle in democracy, and that is the principle of rule of law. Under rule of law, there are 3 cardinal points: supremacy of the law, equality before the law, and fundamental human rights. If you follow due process, there will be no problem within the party management structure. Situation where you jettison the rules of the game, or you try to short-circuit the rules of the game, you impose candidates, you are afraid of conducting election, everything you muzzle it into consensus. Look at the APC primaries that was conducted in Ekiti State. All the main opposition to the governor were either disqualified or pressured to back out. And last week they just returned him as a consensus candidate. But why, when you chose the word consensus, why is it that somebody, the loyalists of some of the aspirants, came to Abuja to protest that their aspirant was...
Thank you very much, Jide. Thank you very much, Jide. I really wish we had more time for it, for us to, talk about, all of this. But we'll have another time. Thank you, Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your week. Keep safe.
And thank you, Dr. Matthew Adoyo-Mali, political scientist. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Always my pleasure.
And thank you for being part of the program. Remember, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News24. You can also watch this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News24 Hub. See you tomorrow.